Propagationalism is something we all wish could be done, yet we have a hard time formulating it into exact words. Many on the third wing look to the past with some nostalgia, or some sense that things were better because in the past there was culture and tradition. While the diagnosis is generally correct that people were in general happier and life was more fulfilling, there is little proposed as to what exactly the problem today is. So first, let us define what a dead culture versus a living culture is. As these are foundational concepts concerning propagationalism, culture is much like language. When it is no longer spoken, but well known to have existed, it is a dead language. Culture is no different, and since culture is an expression of a certain group of people, then it can be said that a dead culture is a culture that is no longer being expressed. Thus, a dead culture is one that is relegated to the shelves of museums and folk festivals. This means that the moment people stop dressing a certain way, stop building a certain way, start participating in certain cultural events or upholding certain traditions, or even cooking food that is traditional, or even naming their children traditional names, it also means that they lose the means by which to declare that they exist as a unique group, that they are not just another man, so to speak, that they have a history, they have their own unique ideas, and are proud to have a place in the world where they call home. This is something they lose. Unfortunately, as many of you might already notice, that means that most of the West is in fact a dead culture. We are all just another man. Unless you want to consider McDonald's culture, and the products you wear as something that makes you not just another man. However, no people can exist in a cultural vacuum. People need something that helps define them and orientate them in relation to the world and others. Something that tells them that they exist in a way that is obvious. Something that tells them that they exist in this place in the world. Something by which, when they look at others, they can immediately tell their own from foreigners. Something that tells them that their civilization is alive. Something that lets them express themselves, their inherent identity, in a unique way. Today, this is so-called mass culture. It is the plethora of standardized globalist value-driven drivel that we see on our streets every day. A new standard comes out and people jump on it because it is a new way to express oneself, a new trend that makes you unique. But that is just it. It just makes you part of a consumer base that is different for no real reason. In the end, everyone looks the same except for their unique, so to speak, shade of gray. In the past, most clothes were made locally by local tailors and craftsmen. Today, that job has been moved to factories, which not only produce massive surplus, but something without any soul at all. And people might ask, but what of tradition in general, not just culture? Why culture at all? Some people will tend to say, why keep tradition? I answer, why not? What do you mean our ancestors did? Just because? Why not do what our ancestors did when it links us to them? When it takes more effort to do so and connects us to them. Ugh, tradition is like so primitive and uneducated. If authenticity, truth, and effort, civilization are primitive, then you must be a barbarian to claim that the modern mud hut is civilized. Civilization is a hallmark of men, not barbarians. Tradition prevents progress. What progress? McDonald's is progress? Is that why you go buy craft beer and handmade t-shirts for the 5th year in a row, even though it's the same garbage you could buy from the supermarket just with a higher price tag? Or handmade the same t-shirt you can get at the supermarket yourself? Tradition has never prevented progress. It has only promoted progress. It is the adding of your brick to your civilization. It is the fertile soil from which you can grow and blossom. Unless you like being a postmodern barbarian, that is. All of these are really just an excuse to be lazy, apathetic, and generally useless to society. Worse yet, they are an aggressive prohibition, a ban, violence against the people and the right to express themselves. It is a call to barbarity. And conservatives are no better. They fall squarely in the middle of this axis for a reason. It is because they wish to crystallize culture and tradition, to keep it as it is, to calcify it. They never desire to develop it, to grow it, to expand it. It is an ideology of the past rather than the future. This is where propagationalism comes in. Propagationalism is a simple idea, and unlike many traditionalist conservative resurrectionist circles, it does not seek to do away with technological progress, which is merely a fact of history. Propagationalism seeks to find ways in which we can propagate the animus and thus the expression of a people in today's time. It seeks to bring back traditions which are lost and put them at the center of one's life and experience. Things such as going to church, lifting stones, partaking in military service, and other traditions that require one to build something, bake something, or create something such as clothing. Bringing back martial arts or customs. Propagationalism seeks to make this a cultural phenomenon, not a revolution or a pure resurrection, but seeks to also modernize tradition to modernity and its material standards. So rather than, say, dressing in an old way, one can modernize old dress into a more fitting form that fits into modern realities somewhat better, but still nonetheless retains its cultural character. This is the essence of futurism that is present in propagationalism. It seeks to propagate, not conserve, tradition, culture, and civilization. Of all the pillars of the third wing, propagationalism is possibly the hardest to execute, as it requires the hard work and steadfast will of a certain demographic in order to be successful. It requires people be willing to become authentic and to express that part of themselves that they have been conditioned to hate. It requires people to learn to truly love again. What's worse, it requires them to learn to love themselves as they ought to be, rather than what they currently are, giving them virile energy to move forward and conquer the world, and to make that cultural vision a reality. Needless to say, there will be pushback, as corporations and the globalists don't want to lose their grip on the narrative of expression. I doubt many would be willing to accommodate European ethnic dress at work, or be respectful towards it. But this can only be associated with shaming, bullying, and nothing more. People are looking for the authentic as is, and providing them with an example is vital. It is the way forward. Become who you are, be proud of who you are, your people, your kin, a common future that is more peaceful, more authentic, more loving. I hope you have enjoyed this video. The next video will be on the pillar of economy. I've been Władysław Mirowski. Szczęść Boże, Sława, and have a great day.